Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is our non-messianic conversation channel. We'll be here every Tuesday, starting at 7 to 9. Our men's or advanced Bible study. Okay, we'll be here on Tuesday nights, and we'll be on Prophets of Awakening on Friday nights, same time, 7 to 9 Central Time. Okay. Um, like I said, we kind of getting all our ducks in a row, so this may be a little rough draft, but we're gonna go through with it anyway. So what I'll be doing is my topic will be main topic will be Nebuchadnezzar, the fall of Jerusalem, Jesus, and will be tied into Ezekiel 17. Okay, you can go to this our non-messianic channel and check out our videos. I think we have maybe 25 or so. We just get started on this channel, and if you want to support the channel, we have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen. So, uh, okay, this channel is this is a non-messianic channel. For those that don't know, we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. Okay, this channel was created. This one and our other two, Israel Wake Up, and Prophets of Awakening, was designed to aid and assist our Hebrews who are waking up on these last days to their true identity and understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Okay, focus being on understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer is. Okay, shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our non-messianic conversations. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, the Psalms, and then I have some topics for conversation, and then we go into our main topic, which, like I said before, topic for discussion is non-messianic Nebuchadnezzar, fall of Jerusalem, uh, Jesus, the Christ, and Ezekiel 17. And tie all that in because my objective is to expose JC, because our time here in America uh, is time is running out, and JC has nothing to do with our deliverance in these last days, because he wasn't the one that delivered us out of Egypt. He wasn't the one that delivered us out of Babylon and the 13 or 14 other captivities that was in. He had nothing to do with them. So to believe that he had something to do with our end time gathering is ludicrous. Okay, so like I said before, we're gonna do this moment of silence, and then prayer and a song. Okay, moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay, O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto Thee. Therefore, we come before Thee at this hour, seeking Thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee as Thy servants David and Solomon, Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before Thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord, and hide not Thy face from us any longer, for we need You so very much at this hour. Peace be unto You. Okay. Read the song right quick. Okay. I'm going to read Psalms 32. It's a Psalm of David. It's the blessedness of forgiveness. Blessed is he whose transgressions is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord imputed not iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no God. When I kept silent, my bones waxed old through my roaring all the day long. For day and night thy hand was heavily upon me. My 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 moisture is turned into drought of the summer. Selah. I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and my iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgressions unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. Selah. For this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in a time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the flood of great waters they shall not come nigh unto him. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me uh, from trouble, and thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. Selah, I will entrust thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go, and I will guide thee with mine eye. Be ye not as the horse, or as the mule, which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held in with a bit and a bridle, lest thou comest near unto thee. Many sorrows shall be to the wicked, but he that trusteth in the Lord, mercy shall compass him about. Be glad in the Lord, and rejoice ye righteous, and shout for joy, all ye that are upright in heart. Okay, that was Psalm 32, the blessedness of forgiveness. Okay, so with that being said, like I said, well, we kind of have a kind of like a slight uh, difference in our format on this than on it. Because what I want to do is my focus in understanding where we at as far as us as Hebrew Israelites and the times that we in. I want to put my focus on one of the main situations that we find ourselves in right now is dealing with an idol, which is Jesus the Christ that they gave us uh, around the time when we were cast out of our land, which was back in 143 BC, not 70 AD, because those are Edomites that was in the land. They stole the land. In the book of Obadiah, when you read it right, it tells you that these people stole the land of Israel by lot. And then from there, they was in the land posing as the Israelites. And they had access to our records. They were not only in when you understand what happened, they not only were they in the land of Israel posing as Israelites, they were in Egypt also, posing as the Egyptians. The last dynasty in Egypt was a Ptolemaic dynasty, which is an Edomite. And the people that was the last people that was in the land of Israel was Edomites. So when you understand that, then the whole thing is our culture, our God, our whole understanding that was hijacked. The Lord is like He promised. He said He was going to come in the last days and pour His Spirit back out on us, and we were going to find out who we are. But more importantly, we was going to search the scriptures out and find Him, because they cast Him off. Gave us another God, false God. Okay, so let me read that right quick. I'll read these couple of verses in context, not in blindness, but in context. So I'm in Deuteronomy, right quick. Says, and then you gotta, saying you gotta think like a Hebrew, right? So I'm in Deuteronomy 32 and 16. They provoked him. This is our God, not JC. They provoked him with jealousy with strange gods, with abominations provoked they him. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, not to the God of Israel, the Lord of hosts, to gods whom they knew not. New gods, the New Testament, JC. They came up newly. They newly came up, whom our fathers knew not. If that ain't JC, I don't know who he is. Say, of the rock, see that? Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. So what rock is this he talking about? Go and see, let David tell us who this rock is. Okay? It ain't JC. Okay, so I'm in 2 Samuel right quick. Chapter 22. Okay, let me get it. 2 Samuel 22. This is a vision that David received before he passed away, right? And it says, verse 2 says, and he said, the Lord is my rock. I'll start back at verse 1. It's David. David's song of deliverance. And David spake unto the Lord. The words of the song, right? So Lord, it's not JC. In the day that the Lord had delivered him. See that? This is delivered. This is doing the deliverance right here. Who had delivered him out of the hands of all his enemies and out of the hands of Saul. This is the God in the Old Testament. Verse 2, David says, and he said, the Lord is my rock. The Lord of hosts is my rock, my fortress and my deliverer. The God of my rock, in him will I trust. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower and my refuge, my savior. Thou savest me from violence. So, like I said, the purpose of this channel is to shine light on JC because of the time that we at. And anybody out there in YouTube land or whatever that is hearing this and they want to debunk it or you want to chop it up, it's all good. We're gonna do it in respect and in righteousness, but we can definitely go in and chop it up because like I said, it's high time. You don't want the flood waters to come and you did it with an idol when they come because it ain't gonna be good. Okay. So, like I said, this channel right here to help you move along. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, appreciate that. Okay, so with that being said, like I said, the format is a little different. What I want to do is through these videos, being able to shine light on a lot of things that we as Hebrew Israelites been dumbed down on. So I think my objective is to play these videos and read out of these other books that they've hooked me and read precepts and stories out of there that connect dots for us as Hebrew Israelites in this last day. So this first video, I'm gonna play it and then we'll chop it up. And this right here, big. I think I dealt with a little bit on another on Israel Wake Up. Israel Wake Up. But let me play this. Okay, like I say, this is a Ponzi scheme. These people are last ditch effort.
Economic forum in Russia. One of Vladimir Putin's closest advisors said something that got a lot of attention.
Америка прямо сейчас пытается поменять правила на рынке золота и криптовалют. Вспомните, какой у них долг. 35 триллионов долларов.
He said the United States is preparing to use crypto and stablecoins to secretly devalue its entire $37 trillion debt.
Загоняя всех куда? В криптовалютное облако. Со временем, когда часть госдолга США будет размещена в стейблкоинах, США обесценит этот долг.
He says the United States is plotting to put that debt into a crypto cloud, which would reset the system, basically leaving the rest of the world just holding the bag. Now, this might sound like some crazy theory, but a version of this story has been said before by billionaire CEO of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor. He actually advised President Trump to, quote, dump all the U.S. gold and buy Bitcoin.
Dump your gold, sell all the U.S. gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold.
So you got to let this ferment.
hold in their banks. So their assets would go to zero. Our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network as well as the world's reserve currency network.
The $37 trillion question, though, is how realistic is this, and would this actually work? Because I think the answer is it's not just going to work. It's going to be inevitable, and I think it's going to happen. Not exactly in that way, but that's what I'm going to help explain in today's video. I want to show you what Putin's advisor exactly said and how the US will devalue its $37 trillion worth of debt with stablecoins and Bitcoin. It's a really interesting story. So with that said, let's get into it. Hi, my name is Henri Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the Bitcoin. So, okay, first question is, who is the person that said all this? Now, his name is Anton Kobiakov, and he is the senior advisor to Russia's President Vladimir Putin. And he's been in that job for over a decade. He basically helps with Russia's messaging at big events like the Eastern Economic Forum. Now, in his speech, he said that the US is trying to rewrite the rules of the gold and crypto markets, and that the ultimate goal of the United States is to push the whole world into what he called the crypto cloud. And once the world is there, he says it's going to move its huge $37 trillion worth of national debt into assets like stablecoins and then devalue it, which will essentially wipe the slate clean. Okay, second question then is, what does it actually mean to devalue the debt, and how does that work? So here goes. Imagine that the whole world is just worth this $100 bill. Let's say I borrow all of it, right? Every single dollar. And now I owe, and I have to pay it back. The problem is, paying it back the hard way means I have to pay it back and give it back, right? But luckily, I have a special superpower because I control the world reserve currency. So instead of repaying it back with the same $100 bill I just borrowed, I could just create another $100 bill out of thin air. Well, now the world doesn't just have $100 in circulation anymore. It now has $200, which is now trying to buy all the same things in the world because we didn't make more stuff. So what happens next? The price of all those things goes up, right? Things like real estate, stocks, gold, especially the things everybody wants, they all go up. The groceries you used to pay $1 for now cost $2. Everything becomes more expensive because, again, the supply of money doubled, but the supply of stuff stayed the same. That's inflation. Now, when I go to give you back your $100, it looks like I just repaid you back in full. But in reality, I cheated because now your $100 bill doesn't buy you the same amount of stuff because I diluted the money, so it now only buys you half as much. I devalued the debt. Now, what most people don't realize, though, is that this is literally the oldest trick in the book. And in a lot of ways, it's how the United States has been paying for its debt this whole time. Devaluing doesn't mean defaulting. It doesn't mean not paying back. It means to lower the real value of that debt through inflation or currency manipulation. And this has happened over and over again throughout time. After World War II, during the inflationary 1970s, and even more recently after the pandemic, when we created a ton of new money and then everything went up in price, right? More dollars chasing the same amount of stuff. So when Russia's advisor says that the US might use crypto to devalue its debt, he's not telling us anything new, right? He's describing something the US has been doing for a really long time. Now, if you take that same trick I just explained and you push it out to the rest of the world, that's what stablecoins let you do. And just to be clear, this isn't literally exchanging the 37 trillion into stablecoins. It's using dollar-pegged stablecoins backed by treasuries to spread liabilities globally. When those
So I was talking about this a little bit, but it's being explained a little bit better. But like I was saying before, when you understand that, and nobody seems to, connect these dots on this, but it's the Bible tells us it's a harlot. It's a whore in the last days. It's a whore in Israel, thinking that the real Israelite, it's the real woman. There's a whore there, right? After the Lord got rid of his bride, cast them off. We went into the west coast of Africa, ended up over here. Esau stole the land, like Obadiah tells you. So it's a fake woman, a whore in the land of Israel, posing as the Israelite, posing as Israel. And then, so when you understand that, their objective is, when you do your research, they want to rule for 1,000 years. They want to rebuild the temple. And like he said in Malachi, the Most High told them that he was going to run them in 70 AD. He ran them out. He used Titus and Vespasian to run them out. But they told him in Malachi that we're going to return. And we're going to rebuild the desert places. And we're going to do this and that. And so in 1948, they came back. Everybody know they're not, if you're a Hebrew in these last days, you know they're not the real people. So who are these people that said they was coming back? The one that's over there now. They said they was coming back, and they came back. And so that's the harlot that's over there in the land of Israel right now. And like I'm saying, I'm telling, screaming to the top of my lungs to everybody that this is actually basics in 2025. So these people over there posing as a real woman, but they're not the real one. And so, like I said, they gave us a false, just like they're the false people, they gave us a false God. And they got the whole world. So their objective is they're going to go back to the land of Israel. They want to rebuild a temple, but they want to rule for 1,000 years. What you're listening to is what they plan on doing. They want to break the whole world. They're going to use this Ponzi scheme right here. Try to, anyway, this Ponzi scheme with this cryptocurrency, break the whole world, the whole global system. Then they come up and be the ruling class. And that's how they build a temple. And what they're trying to do is time all that. So, like I said, and I'm comfortable saying, and anybody that's paying attention can see, it's a perfect storm brewing. And that's a storm that's brewing, but it's going to be, when you understand scripture, it's going to be countered by the Lord of hosts. Same way he countered the Pharaoh and he countered the Chaldeans when he delivered us out of there. So this is, but their plan is, like I said earlier, these Edomites came in, propped themselves up like they was the Israelites, the very last people that was in the land of Israel before it was decimated was Edomites, posing as Israelites. That was in 70 AD. Same in Egypt. Greatest civilization there ever was. It was Edomites in the land. The 29th dynasty was Edomites. And so that's why these people that's over there right now in Britain, the royals, Queen Elizabeth and her family says that they're going to take their crown, which is David's throne, because they from their lineage. They from David. They ruled in Egypt, and they ruled. She descended from the throne in Egypt and the throne in Jerusalem, and that's the reason she's saying that. So they want to take that throne that's in Great Britain with Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles sitting on it now, King Charles, and they want to take it back to Jerusalem. But they gotta find a way to do it, which they already got a plan, and that's what he's talking about right here with the cryptocurrency. We're gonna bring the whole global system down. That's what we're looking at. And then when the dust clear, they're gonna be there with this glorious temple. Got the whole world thinking it's biblical. That's what we're looking at. And so that's my motivation. Reason why you see me doing these 6 days out of the week trying to awaken people and get their minds right, because if you're dealing with JC in these last days, you're on the wrong bus. Well, he has nothing to do with us as Hebrew Israelites in these last days. And matter of fact, he never had nothing to do with us. Like I said, they wrote it. They wrote the New Testament. They wrote him into the typology. They used typology to put him into the Old Testament. He's not in the Old Testament. And a matter of fact, that's what my topic for discussion is about. I'm going to deal with destruction that Nebuchadnezzar brought, which nobody seems to know how bad that was, and giving you an example of what's getting ready to happen. But I want to tie Nebuchadnezzar, fall of Jerusalem, and Ezekiel chapter 17, and also in the process, I'll be dealing with Daniel 9:25 because that's the golden cord. When they brought JC on the scene was Daniel 9:25. And they said this Messiah came, in Daniel 9:25. But I'm going to show you how, from dealing with Ezekiel 17, that who the Messiah is, and then not JC. That's counterfeit. So anyway, I'll play a little more of this and then we'll go move on.
Dollars are inflated. The loss
in comments. Okay.
No, sir.
By
okay.
anyone holding the tokens, but we'll get into that later. But also, speaking of integrating stablecoins into everyday life, did you know that it's possible to earn what I think will be the future world reserve asset without ever buying it? That's what I've been doing with the Bitcoin credit card by Gemini, which is today's sponsor, and it's a card I've been using for a while now. I have 176%. Those are not world, stayed the same. Like, let's say there was only ever this $100 bill in the entire world, right? And it was always that amount. Over time, as technology gets more efficient, as we get better and better at making stuff, the price of everything would naturally go down. Things would get cheaper because productivity goes up, but the money supply stays the same. That is the natural order of the universe. It's decay. Things get cheaper over time. And that's how it should be. But if you think about it, that's not how the world we live in actually works for some reason. And that's because governments can make more money. And when they do, that's when you hear, oh, wait a minute.
This government, not governments, but this government can do that, okay?
Gold, real estate, stocks, Bitcoin, that's hit an all-time high. But the reality is, it's not really that those assets are going up in price. What's really happening is that the dollar is going down because we're making more of them. So it now takes more of them to buy the same thing. And when the new money floods the system, all that extra liquidity, as it's called, has to find a home. It has to find a place to go so that it doesn't become worth less. So it gets put into things like real estate, stocks, gold, Bitcoin, which is also why over the long run, those assets look like they go up forever. In reality, they're just holding their purchasing power while the money that's underneath all of that gets weaker and weaker. So then the question is, what if you can expand this superpower, right? You can widen the same trick beyond the US borders. That's where stable coins come in. Okay, but hold on. If the US can already devalue its debt with regular inflation, what does it matter if it can do the same with stable coins, right? This is why Russia's advisor thinks the US will actually do this. The answer comes down to distribution and control. You see, when the US inflates the dollar, the economy starts to feel the pain right away. We all see the higher grocery bills, right? The more expensive house prices, the energy costs going up.
They asked me.
So what you have to understand about this is Esau's, that's the whole thing that the Most High has a problem with him with. We kind of talked about it the other day. He says that the Lord of hosts loves judgment. And that's where Israel come in at. That's why he loved Israel. That's why he loved Jacob. But he hated Esau because Esau is a robber. And like I said before, if you do your homework, back with Napoleon, They robbed the world. This ain't their first time doing this. They robbed the world during the time of Napoleon. They tricked the whole people, everybody with the stock market. Had everybody thinking Napoleon had won the war, but he hadn't. So everybody sold all their stocks and everything. Then they came in, bought it all up, and then come to find out Napoleon had lost. And then they did it again in 71 with the gold, with Nixon. That's why we on the system that we on now with the petrodollar. And so this is nothing new. Now we see this right here. But they got everything that they banking on tied to this, and they time the man out. But that's subjective. They want to do this right here, and they want to bring the whole world down and then bring it back up. But they're gonna have a temple built, and they'll be ruling the world from Jerusalem, which is not gonna happen. But that's the objective. Okay. Anybody got comments on that? Okay.
Yeah. Shalom, Brother Leonard. When they plan to do this, right? No one will be able to oppose them. So is excuse me. That's why if they crush the whole financial system, they wouldn't have opposition either. Is that why you're saying then they'll build the temple? Because why can't they start building it just right now?
Because you see everything that's going on now with what they're doing in Gaza.
Right.
It wouldn't. There's too much drama going on. They got too many people up against them because of what they see them doing, and that facade they had up there for the longest is coming down because of what's going on, what's happening in Gaza. But if they bring the whole world to its knees, the people ain't gonna have no other choice.
All right.
And that's where they at. That's the objective. And like I said, what people don't understand is he's a pro at this. He got to be a pro at it to even be trying to pull it off. But that's his downfall though, because we know that this is not going to work because of prophecy, the end time. But like I said, what we're looking at is what we see happening around all over the place. Like I said, a perfect storm. Esau is behind it. He's orchestrating. He's doing a control demo job on the world, not only on America but on the whole global system. Okay, here you go, another one right here. This is what's coming in America is unstoppable, right?
Of an era. It's the end of actually a sub-era and an era. The end of the era is the end of the Western dominance over the world system. And this is a dominance that began with the European empires and then transferred to the US empire after World War II. But that dominance essentially lasted from around 1750 to around 2000. So around 250 years. You could add one more 250-year period, helpfully, starting in 1500, European imperial expansion began. That's with the voyages of Columbus and Vasco da Gama. So the voyages both to the west and to the east from Europe led to the beginning of the European global expansion. But Europe had its rivals, especially in the old world. In the new world, people succumbed to the old world diseases mainly. But in the old world, Asia didn't simply succumb to Europe, but over a period of around 250 years, European powers gained their ascendancy. And Britain became the dominant of all of the European empires by the 19th century with the defeat of Napoleon. The American idea,
I just talked about that. Okay.
And the European idea, and the NATO idea, was that we faced an implacably expansionist, ungodly, totalitarian, communist, international movement, and that we were defending freedom and democracy against the expansion of the Soviet Union. I would say that was taken as 99.9% by Americans and Europeans at the time. And I crossed checkpoint Charlie twice in Berlin. I saw the Berlin Wall with my own eyes as a young person, of course, on many occasions. So the world seemed to be divided, and the foe on the other side seemed to be implacable. And just to translate till today, communism is gone, Soviet Union's gone, but the rhetoric about Russia is almost identical to the rhetoric of the Cold War period, as if there's no change. Okay. But my point is, even that Cold War vision, if you grow up and spend decades studying, learning, working on both sides, working in Moscow as I have, working all over the world, but especially in these two sides of Europe, the whole Cold War narrative is a huge blunder and tragedy in its way, because there's another story to it that's completely different from the one that you and I grew up with. And that story is the Soviet at the time, until today, the Russian search for security. And we don't give this one moment's thought. And I can tell you, I didn't even hear 1 minute of it growing up or going through university union in the most anti-Western way, because we don't dare look at the truth, which is that we in the if I could put it this way, I don't like to think of it this way, but in the West, rebuffed the chance for an alliance with Russia, in essence. And with Finland, Stalin knew that the Germans were going to come through the Baltic states and come through Finland, and ended up doing precisely that in the siege of Leningrad and starving millions of people. And he understood that, and he asked for an ability to station Soviet troops, or to even to swap some land areas to protect Leningrad, today St. Petersburg, and again was completely rebuffed by the Finns. And this is the origin of what happened. So we don't even want to look at anything from the other perspective. There's a name for this, by the way. It's called the security dilemma, for people who of Zionist idea emerged in the milieu of nationalism, I would say crude nationalism, at the end of the 19th and early 20th centuries. And it was not a Jewish movement. It was a very secular movement by very secular and sometimes radical Jews, opposed by the religious Jews. Very important point, because to equate Zionism and Judaism is to get the history, again, completely upside down, because the rabbis were against all of this. They said, we don't need a state. We need our synagogue in our local community. We need to walk down the block to our synagogue. But the Zionists had a different idea, which was the kind of, I would say, crude nationalism of the 19th century, that you're nothing if you don't have a state. And they weren't religious, so they weren't worrying about religion. Even Ben Gurion, the founder of Israel, said, we're not yeshiva students, we're making a state. You know, we're the new people. Anyway, this is the...
So like I was saying, there it is right there. They said they're the new people, and then, like I said, they want to build a temple. He was saying that the first Jews that came there, they wasn't thinking about no temple. But these Zionists, the ones that winded all Esau, and these Ashkenazi Jews, they're the ones behind all this, tied in with these Christian nationalists. This is where we at. And what we're looking at is they think they're rising, but Most High is bringing them down, because they're digging a hole for themselves. And David tells us that all the time in the Psalms, how they dig a hole and they fall in on their own. Fall in their own trap. That's what we're looking at. So any comments on that? One thing you heard.
Hey, Mr. Leonard, I would like to comment, brother, and shalom to AJ. Shalom, brother, Mr. Leonard.
Okay.
They said, who gonna bring me down? Now,
Exactly.
The thing about that is, when you look at it from a perspective, and you know that Edom lost the birthrights, right? You gave your birthright to your brother, the pottery soup, and then he beguiled him and his arm, and Jacob had to go in there and act like Esau. We already know how all of that happened, right?
Right.
And then the Most High says, okay, because you said that your brothers was running from the captivity, the raids and stuff that they was going through, and you helped put them in there. But we also understand that through the laws of what he said, that who gonna bring me down, for cursed be him, and we know the bloodline's gone of Edom, because he says, for I love Jacob and hated Esau. So when we look at that perspective, and they know this perspective, they bounds have no ends. It's over, right?
Exactly.
They have no ends. We already know we dying. So we're gonna take as many of us out as we can.
Exactly.
It's like kamikaze, right?
Exactly.
And that's what's going on. That's what we're watching right now. They already know the end of their reign, and they just going out. They already know. He said it's gonna be an end to Esau. It won't be Esau no more. That bloodline is gone.
Right.
So what do you have to lose?
Right. Exactly. He's trying to take down and tear up as much stuff as he can, knowing that his time ran out.
Exactly. And then let's move this to the next place. Let's
Right.
try to run. Let's try to do this.
Like
But you know your time, yes, sir. And you know your time is running out. And they talking about the gold and everything else, because contrary to the Most High, gold and silver is mine. But nah, Esau want to sit on the throne as the Most High, according to what these scriptures say. So therefore, I instead of gold and silver, I want dollars and cents. Instead of the Passover, Shabbat, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, I know we can't keep those things, but they got Halloween, Christmas, and Thanksgiving, and all them other things. Always contrary to the Most High.
Exactly. That's to keep us in the dark. You know,
that's what we witnessing right now.
Right. Along with JC.
Along with JC. That's the number one. That's the number one component. He couldn't have did it without JC. Facts. Exactly. Yes, sir. Because he said in Deuteronomy 28, when we came over here, you're going to a land where your forefathers knew not, and there you're going to worship wood and stone. Right. Clearly, he was on a cross. That's wood on that. Right. And then the cobblestone, Muslim. Right. Same thing Albert Pike and Alistair Crowley was talking about.
Exactly. Oh yeah. And then you go back and you'll see that that's nothing new either under the sun, because that's what Terah was doing when Abraham encountered him. Abraham had to get his mind right, because that's what Terah, his father, was dealing with during the time of Nimrod. Wood and stone. Isn't that something?
Yes, sir. And then was that the same one where he had to tear up his father's secret room?
Exactly. Right.
Yes, sir.
With the axe.
And then, yes, sir. With the axe. And it was one day they put him in front of the king. He told the king the same thing.
Exactly. Put him in the furnace.
Yes, sir.
They don't want us to know that. Like I said, that when you go to Jasher, nobody seems to know that Abraham was put in the fiery furnace too. Long before Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was.
Yes, sir.
So Daniel was put in the fiery furnace. Okay, with his brother Nahor. That's why he took Lot with him, because he felt responsible for Nahor being burned up in the furnace. And so like I said, with all this information that most Hebrews don't have, they can hold on to JC and Yahushua and think that they in the right place, because they missing so much information that they haven't, for some reason, came in contact with or privy to or absorbed. So they mean it's the only reason you can be still dealing with JC in 2025. You got to be lacking information. Okay.
And then that argumentative spirit, because we were speaking about that heavens were shut up. So what's coming down? How you giving all these births? Yes, sir.
Right. Exactly. Right. And you got anything on that, AJ, before we move on? Any comments? Feedback? Okay. Yeah. So like I said before, my main topic is we just this is like a introduction to this. I had a couple of videos here and there, but I want to try to make this more a weekly thing. You know what I'm saying? So the topic for the day is I'm dealing with. I got a video which I thought it paints the actual picture of actually what happened during the time when Nebuchadnezzar came. And what you have to do when you're listening to this, you also got to understand that this is what's coming now for the Gentiles, but not what they told you in the New Testament. But this is a prime example of what's getting ready to happen with the West and with these people that tamper with the Most High's word, tamper with His people, and just did a little bit of everything. Okay, so here we go. So this is how Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Jerusalem. I'm telling you how he destroyed it, right? Okay.
75,000 people lived within the walls of what was considered the safest city in the ancient world. 18 months later, only 10,000 were alive. This seems impossible given Jerusalem's 12-meter-high walls, years' worth of food supplies, trained soldiers, and the protection.
Another thing before we get started, I want you to understand that our God, not JC, the Lord of hosts, our forefathers turned away from Him. This is what He done, right? And then so you got to know this was over 3,000, 4,000 years ago. So you got to imagine. You see, it says that only 70-some 5,000, I think it is, people that was there. But look at the numbers of people now. So imagine the sin and iniquity today. And this is what He done back then. So you got to understand what's coming. Gonna be a whole lot uglier than this. Okay?
Of God Himself. So how did a Babylonian king manage to erase an entire city in less than 2 years? The answer lies not in brute strength, but in strategy. Nebuchadnezzar's approach was so calculated and brutal that it is still studied by military strategists today. Shockingly, he turned destruction into an exact science. The most lethal army of the ancient world did not rely solely on brute force. Nebuchadnezzar commanded 180,000 soldiers trained for one purpose: to demolish entire cities. According to the prophet Jeremiah, they came from the north, like a destructive storm devouring everything in their path. But it wasn't just about numbers. It was about war technology that no enemy could withstand. Their catapults hurled 90-kilogram stones 200 meters away. Rams, heavier than 20 oxen combined, broke through bronze gates as if they were mere dry sticks. Siege towers reached heights of 30 meters, taller than a 10-story building. Jeremiah 4:13 describes, "Behold, He comes up like clouds. His chariots are like a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles."
Nebuchadnezzar. A lot of people don't know that he's talking about Nebuchadnezzar because they trying to tie this to the day. But like I said, it already happened.
Even more terrifying, Nebuchadnezzar did not improvise. Each attack followed a proven war manual, tested in dozens of conquered cities like Nineveh, Ashkelon, and Lachish, all of which fell using the exact same method. The Babylonian king had transformed destruction into an exact science. But why would such a powerful...
Lord, I hope know just how to do you. Like you see these Edomites flipping and dipping and doing all that. He got something, he know just what to do for them. And right here, these Israelites, they couldn't tell them nothing. You know, just who to bring. Okay.
Powerful empire waste time on a small city like Jerusalem? The answer will surprise you. Jerusalem was small and poor compared to Babylon, but its location was strategic. It was right in the path between Babylon and Egypt, the two superpowers of the time. Whoever controlled Jerusalem controlled all trade between the continents. Moreover, Jerusalem was an ally of Egypt, Babylon's greatest enemy. According to 2 Kings 24:7, the king of Egypt never again left his land because the king of Babylon took everything that belonged to the king of Egypt, from the stream of Egypt to the river Euphrates. Nebuchadnezzar knew that as long as Jerusalem existed, Egypt would always have a base of operations on his territory, like a dagger pointed at his shores. There was also the matter of pride. Jerusalem refused to surrender, while other kings trembled at the mere mention of Nebuchadnezzar's name. The Jews claimed that their God was greater than any army, which infuriated the Babylonian king. For him, destroying Jerusalem was not just a military strategy. It was a demonstration of power to the entire world. No city, however well protected, could challenge Babylon. But Nebuchadnezzar was too clever to attack head-on. First, he applied a devastating psychological blow.
Check it out.
He didn't arrive breaking gates, but smiling. In 605 BCE, his troops surrounded Jerusalem, but did not attack. Instead, the Babylonian king made a proposal that seemed generous. Give me some of the noble youths to educate in Babylon, and I will leave the city in peace. King Jeconiah accepted immediately. It seemed like a beneficial deal. Daniel 1:3-4 recounts that Nebuchadnezzar ordered some of the sons of Israel, of royal lineage and the nobles, to be brought. Youths without defect, handsome in appearance, and wise in all matters. Among those taken were
So
Daniel.
my point in playing this, notice that the characters, ain't no Jesus Christ in this. We got nothing to do with none of this.
Daniel, Hananiah,
Hey,
Mishael,
Mr. Leonard.
the
Hey,
brightest of
Mr.
Jerusalem.
Leonard.
Okay.
And then he also said that the same thing they said about David and the rest of us. It was comely, easy on the eyes, nice looking. Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, son.
Jerusalem. Jeconiah thought he had made a good deal by saving the city at the cost of only a few youths. But Nebuchadnezzar was more cunning. He didn't just want hostages. He wanted to break Jerusalem's future by taking away the brightest minds. Thus, he ensured that the next generation of leaders would be raised in Babylon, not in Judah. Moreover, by accepting this deal, Jeconiah declared himself a vassal of Nebuchadnezzar. Jerusalem had lost its independence without realizing it. The first blow was not military, but psychological, and it worked perfectly. However,
So let me shine a light on this because I was gonna let it go, but like I said, we China ran out. So right here, when you go to Daniel 9:25, those people, because they lack understanding, and then they're not dealing from a Hebrew or from an Israelite perspective. So they just, when they concocted JC, they plugged them in Daniel 9:25, but the Messiah in Daniel 9:25 didn't start right there. It started right here. The Jeconiah, this king right here, that's what Messiah means. In Israel, in the nation of Israel, the king was anointed, like Samuel did with David. The Lord of hosts told him in 1 Samuel 16:1, take the horn of oil and pour it on David, anoint him. That's what anointed. So this king right here was anointed the same way. He was taken by Nebuchadnezzar to Babylon, right? And then he had his wife and all his children were taken with him for a reason, because the Lord of hosts, our deliverer, our redeemer, Lord of hosts, in Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. So when you understand that, he got a covenant with David. That he's gonna always watch over. He's always gonna have a seed. That he's gonna always have him on the seed. So this David's seed right here going to Babylon, but he made sure that he took his wife and all his women, all his concubines with him. This man right here had a son, Zerubbabel. That's the Messiah in Daniel 9:25. So as we going through this, I wanted to put that plug in there so we can follow it. And like I said, JC ain't now one of the characters in this story.
Years later, Jeconiah.
Hey, Mr. Leonard. Hey, Mr. Leonard.
Fury.
Okay.
Not only that, but when you deal with the New Testament, we seen David kill the giant, right?
Right.
Why JC was running from peasants?
Okay.
Remember in the New Testament? In the New Testament, he was running. Yes, sir. He running, but David ran towards Goliath.
Right.
But JC running away from people, not a giant, people, the Jewish. Yes, sir. So how could you compare the two?
You can't.
You can't. Our heritage and their heritage. And I'm going to go again. They heritage. Your hair, your helmet.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Okay.
Jeconiah lasted only 3 months on the throne. In March of 597 BCE, Nebuchadnezzar arrived in person with his entire army. This time, there was no negotiation. The young king of 18 years looked down from the walls and saw a sea of soldiers stretching to the horizon. According to 2 Kings 24:10-11, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up to Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. Jeconiah lasted exactly 3 days. On the third day, he did something no king of Jerusalem had ever done before. He opened the gates and surrendered voluntarily. 2 Kings 24:12 records. Then King Jeconiah of Judah came out to the king of Babylon, he and his mother, his servants, his nobles, and his officials.
See, people reading over this, they don't understand. I seen this. This is the Lord of hosts at work, not JC, but he got his mama and his wives and all them with him because he has to preserve the seed of David. The God that's over Israel, he's got to preserve the seed of David, not JC. So he's preserving David's lineage right here. When he had this Jeconiah brought out, protected with his mom, wife, everybody. Oh, he's protecting David's seed line.
Nebuchadnezzar was surprised. He expected resistance, but found total surrender. The strategy of progressive siege had completely broken Jerusalem's morale. Fear was more effective than any catapult strike. Nebuchadnezzar took advantage to loot the temple for the first time, taking away part of the sacred utensils and filling 50 carts with gold and silver. But most importantly, he took Jeconiah alive to Babylon as a trophy.
Most importantly,
the king of Jerusalem became a prisoner of war. It was the second time Nebuchadnezzar humiliated Jerusalem, but it was still not enough. Nebuchadnezzar did not kill Jeconiah. He had more intelligent plans. Instead of executing the king of Jerusalem, he applied the tactic that had destroyed other nations, the massive deportation.
So what we're looking at is the God of Israel at work, but you can't see this, none of this, because you're dealing with the idol that they gave you, JC. You can't see him at work right here because you're dealing with JC.
Of the most important people.
Hey, Mr. Leonard. Mr. Leonard.
Lists the exact number.
Okay.
And not only that, but why JC don't have a house? Where's his house at?
Right.
He got a seed. David has a house. Forever, he got a house. Where's his house? Who gave him a house?
Right. Yeah, he all of a sudden now he's running David out. Most High says he's gonna bring David back in the last days, but they didn't twist it around with JC coming back.
Exactly. And you know what? JC was supposed to came back today. Today, Tuesday. It's all on the internet. The rapture was supposed to happen today.
Exactly.
All this stuff's supposed to happen today.
Okay.
And we still here. And we already know if any rapture gonna happen, it's gonna be us getting up out of here, and it's gonna be in cruise ships. But my thing is, where's the house? If David always gonna have a king on the throne, and it leads to JC, where's JC house
Right. Exactly.
to keep it going? That's what I want to know. Where is it?
Yeah.
He didn't. He ain't got no boy. What was the son name of JC?
It's David house.
Yeah, but I'm saying is, if you believe in JC, where is his house? Because David supposed to came before JC, correct?
Right.
So where's JC house to keep David house going?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Exactly. Okay.
And states that he transported all of Jerusalem, including all the nobles and all the valiant men, 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. No one was left except the poorest people of the land. 10,000 people. But they were not ordinary people. Nebuchadnezzar specifically took the leaders, intellectuals, craftsmen, and soldiers, those who knew how to govern, fight, or build, were torn away from Jerusalem. Among the deportees was the prophet Ezekiel, who would later describe in detail the final destruction of the city.
Yeah, I want to shine a light on some. Ain't that what they did on transatlantic slave trade when they came to Africa, to Negro land? Didn't they get the best and the brightest?
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, nothing new under the sun. They're doing the same thing here. This is another example of understanding why you can see who we are. You know what I'm saying? Not the people that's over there now and taking the false woman, but it's the real woman right here. And we see the same way it happened in the past, it happened with transatlantic slave trade. They came and got the brightest, strongest and the brightest. That's the reason they made that horrible trip. Okay?
The plan was brilliant. Leave only the poor, peasants, and shepherds who knew nothing of leading rebellions. Nebuchadnezzar placed Zedekiah, Jeconiah's uncle, as a puppet king. He was a weak man, controlled from afar by Babylon. And
it's not the lineage that the Lord of hosts followed. Nebuchadnezzar took Zedekiah's brother. I mean, yeah, he took Josiah's brother and made him king. That's not the lineage that the Lord of hosts is following. Okay, you gotta understand that.
And it's the lineage that they're not following right now, too, Mr. Leonard. Because
Exactly.
they did. He said that us. That's why we in trouble, because we always looking for the big guy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the giants, fallen angels, we look for him to be a size taller than us, bigger. Yes, sir.
Imposing figure, right? Yeah, yeah. So what we're looking at right here, two kings. You got the real king, which is Jeconiah, he was taken, and now we got a imposter that Nebuchadnezzar put over the nation of Israel. Okay, the lineage, the anointed king that's coming from David lineage, been taken to Babylon, right?
for 11 years, this strategy worked perfectly. Jerusalem became a ghost town, ruled by a king with no real power and inhabited only by the poorest. Nebuchadnezzar believed he had solved the problem of Jerusalem forever, but Zedekiah would make a foolish mistake that would force Nebuchadnezzar to return for a third time, this time to destroy everything. For 11 years, Zedekiah was the perfect puppet king. He paid tribute, obeyed orders, and kept Jerusalem silent. Nebuchadnezzar was satisfied. The problem of Jerusalem seemed resolved. But in 588 BCE, Zedekiah committed the century's folly. he rebelled against Babylon. According to Jeremiah 37:5, the army of Pharaoh came out from Egypt, and when the Chaldeans who were besieging Jerusalem heard news of them, they withdrew from Jerusalem. The people of Jerusalem saw the approaching Egyptian army and thought they finally had a strong ally. Popular pressure and empty promises from Egypt led Zedekiah to break the agreement with Babylon. According to 2 Kings 24:20, this happened because of the anger of the Lord against Jerusalem and Judah, until he expelled them from his presence. And Zedekiah rebelled.
The anger of the Lord, right there. It's not JC. Okay, this is where a lot of people go off being cyborg there right here. This the God of Israel right here. It ain't JC. He ain't the Most High Son. So,
against the king of Babylon.
And the funny thing about that, Mr. Leonard, is
in the history of Judah.
Okay.
I was just saying the funny thing about it is because he said he loved Jacob and hated Esau. So if we going down this road, there's some hatred going on. Everybody ain't gonna make it, correct?
Right, exactly.
Because you have problems with people.
Exactly.
I just want people to know that.
Exactly.
When Nebuchadnezzar learned of the betrayal, there would be no more agreements, vassalage, or chances. This time, he came to erase Jerusalem from the map. The plan Nebuchadnezzar created for the final destruction was so brutal that even his own generals were shocked.
Here we go, right here.
But if you believe that God always delivers justice, even if it is delayed, comment, God is just, and show your faith. In January of 588 BCE, Nebuchadnezzar besieged Jerusalem.
This is the thing right here that tripped me out. You notice what he said? No, we ain't had this kind of information before. He says in January, right? Okay, did y'all hear that?
Right.
Okay, when is
Yes, sir.
when is AU coming into existence?
In February.
Same time, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir. In the same time that they be trying to do the what is that called? It's the religious, never mind. I get with it, but forgiveness and all that other stuff over a certain amount of years.
Right, yeah, the Jubilee. Okay.
Strategy that had never failed, but this time was different. He did not want vassalage or tribute. He wanted total extermination. According to 2 Kings 25, the nightmare began.
Here you go.
It happened in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month on the 10th day, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against Jerusalem with his entire army and camped against it.
So this Jerusalem, imagine what he's going to do to this place.
The siege was not chaotic, but a masterpiece of military engineering. Nebuchadnezzar built a wall around Jerusalem, a city encircled by another city. No person, animal, or grain of food could enter or leave.
Hey, Mr. Leonard, it's crazy because Donald Trump trying to build the wall. Let's build the wall. Donald Trump, let's build the wall. We in Nebuchadnezzar building wall, right?
Like this song?
And Trump back then with his first presidency, the wall, the wall, the wall. And people don't get it.
Exactly.
They built siege works against it all around, and it was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. The army was divided into shifts of 24 hours. While one part attacked the walls, the other rested. The pressure was constant, without breaks, day and night. But Nebuchadnezzar was in no hurry. He knew time was on his side. Jerusalem had food for a few months. He had food for years. Jerusalem had low morale. He had soldiers motivated by the promise of plunder. Week by week, Jerusalem weakened, and Nebuchadnezzar grew stronger. It was simple math. Hunger would kill the defenders before fatigue affected the attackers. Jerusalem took pride in its massive stone walls, which had withstood attacks for centuries. But Nebuchadnezzar had studied every brick. In previous sieges, his engineers had mapped every weak point, every crack, every vulnerable angle of Jerusalem's defenses. The walls were 12 meters high and 6 meters thick, impressive but not impossible to breach. Nebuchadnezzar brought his most advanced siege engines, giant rams mounted on mobile towers, catapults hurling incendiary stones, and specialized diggers to undermine foundations. Jeremiah 32:24 describes the technique. Behold, the enemy has come up against us, laying siege to the city, and the city is given into the hand of the Chaldeans fighting against it. The strategy was to attack 3 points simultaneously: the weakest northern gate, the tallest eastern tower, and the southern foundation built on rocky terrain. While the rams battered the gates, sappers dug tunnels to weaken the bases. Catapults kept defenders away from the walls with a constant barrage of projectiles. For months it seemed the walls would hold, but Nebuchadnezzar did not rely solely on strength, but on mathematics. Each ram strike created micro cracks. Each hurled stone dislodged mortar. Each day of digging undermined the structure. The impenetrable walls were slowly crumbling, and when they fell, the massacre would be inevitable. Nebuchadnezzar turned hunger into the deadliest weapon of the siege. In the first month, Jerusalem rationed food. By the third month, people ate tree bark. By the 6th month, they boiled sandals for sustenance.
They tell us this.
2 Kings 25:3 records. On the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine became so severe in the city that there was no bread for the people of the land. But the horror was just beginning. Lamentations 4:10 describes the unthinkable. The hands of compassionate women who boiled their own children. They became food for them during the destruction of the daughter of my people. Mothers cooking their own babies, families fighting over moldy crumbs, corpses rotting in the streets because no one had the strength to bury them.
Hey, Mr. Leonard. Mr. Leonard.
With his command tower.
Think
He knew
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Leonard, I'm sorry to bother you, but think about the Twin Towers and how all of them things fell, like he was just talking about.
Right.
And all of this is to come. And they don't see it because it's
Okay.
saying this is what happened, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yes, sir. But it
Right.
takes time. He said it took time. The Twin
Exactly.
Towers hit, like you said, they
Right.
fell. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Yeah. And the thing about it, since while we're here, is that my point is to emphasize the fact that these people, the reason why this is happening is they turn away from their God. They're not dealing with the God. They're not dealing with their God. So we're in the same predicament now. That's why it's so important that I keep on emphasizing the fact that JC is a false God. He ain't the God that's over Israel.
Exactly.
So
And what they saying is, from what they saying is, y'all came over here, which we already know in Deuteronomy, dealing with wood and stone, right?
right,
Muslims and Christianity, 2 biggest religions right now,
exactly, right,
wood and stone.
right. So he's not, they're not. You can see that they're off. You're off. So like I was saying the other day on the Shabbat, you're not. Nope. Who gives a damn? If you off, you off. I mean, they're here. You think that what he got Nebuchadnezzar doing is he's all of a sudden gonna say no, let's stop. They done violated him, and they dealing with other gods, and that's why this is happening. Nobody gives a damn what they saying or what they doing or what they believe right here at this point. Judgment is in play. Nobody cares what you saying or what you doing. You're in the wrong place. And that's what's coming. Okay.
And the nations right now is sitting back, just
Five.
like the king that he cursed to eat the ground. He eating grass. You know, he's a beast. He turned him into a beast. That's what's going on here. It's over. The writing on the wall, like he told him, hey, he get what was his name? Joseph, not Joseph. What was his name when he told him go get him? I need you to tell me what the writing on the wall is.
Daniel.
Saint Daniel. And your man out there eating grass. That's the same thing that's happening right now, and people don't understand it. We're at that time. It's crazy to understand, but we there.
Exactly.
We watching these kingdoms
No
fall.
idea what's coming, you know what I'm saying, and reason why. Because he's got to be reestablish himself back to where he was at. These people that denigrated our culture, our Messiah, our God, all that. So you think this right here was something?
Refugees fleeing the city told tales of cannibalism and desperation. The Babylonian king felt no pity. He saw it all as part of the strategy. Lamentations 2:21-22 reflects the despair. I have heard the groaning of all the people. They say, the Lord's wrath is poured out like a fire. When the soldiers of Jerusalem were too weak to wield swords.
Not JC wrath, the Lord's wrath.
Hey, but it's funny, Mr. Leonard. It's funny because now we're watching all the white people saying, black people are the Israelites, black people are the chosen people. Ain't that the sword that was happening then? These things are coming to pass. The same thing. Now they're starting to realize who he is through us. The farmers of America, Texas, all these people, they realizing who we are. It's the same thing.
Exactly. Right.
The work that thousands of soldiers could not achieve. After 18 months of agony, the moment Nebuchadnezzar awaited arrived. The final breach in the wall. At dawn on July 18, 586 BCE, what Jerusalem had feared for 18 months came to pass. The wall broke. Jeremiah 52:7 marks the exact moment. Then the city was breached, and all the men of war fled. It wasn't a dramatic collapse, but a 3-meter fissure in the northern wall, enough for 10 soldiers to pass side by side. The guards of Jerusalem saw the breach and shouted, "The wall has fallen! The wall has fallen!" Panic ensued. Zedekiah tried to organize a desperate defense.
So what you got to understand right here, these are the same walls right here that's Nebuchadnezzar brought down. That's in Daniel 9:25. Ain't got nothing. It don't have nothing to do with no JC. These are walls that he's mentioning in Daniel 9:25. Let me read that. Okay. It says, Daniel 9:25 says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth for the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah. See that? The prince shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, the wall even in troublesome times. So this ain't got nothing to do with no JC and all that. It's got to do with after 70 years, Jeremiah told them they was coming back to rebuild these walls. And the Messiah gonna be with them when they come back to king. The king out of that lineage, which I showed you, Jeconiah. Jeconiah was taken to Babylon with his wives and with his mother and all them. So he's still bringing David's lineage along. They have a son. Jeconiah have a son called Sethel. Then Sethel have a son called Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel is that Messiah that's in Daniel 9:25, not JC. So, like I said, these what we listening to, these the walls that's being referred to in Daniel 9:25. We going somewhere with this, okay? Check it out.
but his soldiers were too starved to fight. Many simply threw down their swords and fled. The first Babylonians to enter through the breach were the archers, who climbed the towers and began shooting at defenders trying to escape. For 2 hours, the organized resistance of Jerusalem was over. According to 2 Kings 25:4, the city was breached, and all the men of war fled by night through the gate between the two walls that was by the king's garden. Nebuchadnezzar had transformed hunger into the most lethal weapon of the siege. After 2 years of planning, 6 months of building war machines, and 18 months of brutal siege, Jerusalem had finally fallen. But the fall of the city was just the beginning. Now came the part Nebuchadnezzar most anticipated. Nebuchadnezzar forced Zedekiah to witness the unthinkable. First, they brought the king's sons, young princes who would one day inherit the throne of Judah. Zedekiah pleaded for their lives, offering gold and promising eternal vassalage.
So you gotta understand, this the king that Nebuchadnezzar put up there, not the one that the Most High is following out of David's lineage, which is Jeconiah. He's been taken to Babylon, so you got to follow that lineage, okay? And notice this man right here was killed all his sons. He cut the lineage off.
Nebuchadnezzar did not respond. He merely nodded to the executioner. 2 Kings 25:7 coldly records, "They slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, then put out Zedekiah's eyes, bound him in bronze chains, and brought him to Babylon." Zedekiah's screams echoed through the camp, but the worst was yet to come. After executing the sons, Nebuchadnezzar ordered the killing of all the nobles of Judah who had been captured. Lamentations 4:10 confirms, "The hands of the compassionate women have boiled their own children. They became food for them during the destruction of the daughter of my people."
Right, so why is this happening? They turned away from the God of Israel. They ain't dealing with the God of Israel. That's what these people did to us now. They got us dealing with a God that had nothing to do with us. So all this is happening because they're not dealing with their God. Okay? So
Yes, sir. And then that's why he put us in captivity to worship wood and stone. And when we in this captivity, he said that Edom was gonna live by the sword. That's a blessing from Joseph. And he was gonna reign in high places and do all these other things. Right?
right.
That's why we're sitting here under the rulership of these people and don't even know why. But I thought JC died on the cross for your sins. So whatever sin you committed, you should be good right now. You should be a rich man. You should be one of the billionaires, correct?
Right.
It's the truth.
Right. So I'm in Jeremiah to show you this. It's in the scriptures. And like I said, the narrative it had nothing to do with the New Testament. My point is, so we in 24, Jeremiah 24, it's the good and the bad fig, right? So he tells us in, let me read verse 1. The Lord showed me, behold, 2 baskets of figs set before the temple of the Lord, and that Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away captive Jeconiah. We're looking at all this on this video. The son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and the princes of Judah, and the carpenters, the smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon. One basket had very good figs, even like figs that are first ripe, and the other basket had naughty figs, which could not be eaten. They were so bad. Then said the Lord unto me, What said thou, Jeremiah? And I said, Figs, good figs, very good, and evil, very evil, that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. And again the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Thus says the Lord God of Israel, like these good figs, so shall I acknowledge them that are carried away captive of Judah, whom I have sent out of this place into the land of the Chaldeans for their good. And I will set mine eyes upon them for good, and I will bring them again. See that? Like I said, they're going to come back and build the walls. This ain't got nothing to do with JC. And not pull them down, and I will plant them and not pluck them up. And I will give them a heart to love, to know me, that I am the Lord, not JC. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God, and they shall return unto me with their whole heart. And now here you go, what we just read, right? As for the evil figs, which cannot be eaten, they are so evil. Surely, thus saith the Lord, so will I give Zedekiah. That's what we just looking at this and hearing it. Zedekiah, the king of Judah, and his princes, his sons, and the residue of Jerusalem that remain in the land, and them that dwell in the land of Egypt, and I will deliver them to be removed into the kingdoms of the earth for their hurt, to be a reproach and a proverb and a taunt and a curse, and in a place where I shall be driving them. He's doing this because they didn't turn from him. But the good figs that's still dealing with him know who he is, and dealing with him, he's looking after them. But he got
sir.
Something for that fig that turned from him. The wicked fig.
Is that the boule? Because we got the figs, right? Is that like the boule? And we already know Edom in them. But is it like the boule? I just want to know that good fig, bad fig.
Any Negro that's not dealing with him.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The boule, because all skin folk ain't skin folk, and they were saying in the New Testament they want to talk about the wheat and the tare.
Right. Exactly. Right. But like I said, he's dealing with those who deal with him and those who turn from him. And the ones that don't acknowledge him, they ass out. That's what's coming. And you get the opportunity to find out who he is, but you can not deal with it or not. So my point is this too: why was Zedekiah eyes put out, sons killed, and all that? Zedekiah the one that went against his prophet. Zedekiah the one that when Jeremiah sent Barak with the scrolls with "Thus said the Lord" on it, Zedekiah took it and burned it. That's why Jerusalem that's why Nebuchadnezzar was able to do what he's doing. He gave Nebuchadnezzar free reign. When Zedekiah did what he did, he gave him free reign to do everything Nebuchadnezzar did. And so, like I said before, believe me, the Lord of hosts got that man out there that's gonna do exactly just how to do these people. He coming. There's a system already in place. We see how volatile and how strategic Nebuchadnezzar was. The Lord of hosts brought him to do just that. And he got a system to deal with this place and the people that's in it. And it's coming. There's a storm already brewing.
That's why he said kicking up against the brick.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So I said we dealt with that to go to this. I'm gonna further show you that this has nothing to do with JC. So I showed you that Zedekiah, Daniel 9:25 said that there's a Messiah coming back at the end of the 70 years, and he's gonna rebuild the temple, that's Zerubbabel, right? So we're gonna go into not only one.
Hey, Mr. Leonard, I don't want to cut you off, brother. Did you know that they are actively trying to build it right now again?
Yeah, exactly.
It's starting again. Exactly. Yeah, it stopped for a minute. Now they're doing it again.
Exactly.
Yep.
They can't get it right because the time is up. That's what that is. Like I say, that's what the crypto, my man exposed them on with the crypto. The crypto is to bring the whole system down. That way they'll be the only one. When the smoke clear, they're gonna be the ones sitting there on top of the hill. They'll be able to do what they want to do, which is rebuild a temple, and they want to reign and rule the world for 1,000 years from Jerusalem. But it's not the Most High. That's not that's not part of the Most High plan. He not already allowed them to do what they was gonna do. It's judgment time. So anyway, you would say, well, how did you come to the conclusion that's the Messiah in Daniel 9:25? Well, just like Jeremiah, I'm showing you what Jeremiah is showing us. Ezekiel did the same thing. Ezekiel's talking about the exact same situation. He's going to explain it to us too, right here. I'm in chapter 17 of Ezekiel, right? We're talking about this same Messiah, the same man, which is Zerubbabel. That's in Daniel 9:25. It says, a parable was put forth to Ezekiel, right? The parable of the eagle and the vine, right? And we start in chapter 17, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, pull forth a riddle and speak a parable unto the house of Israel, right? And say, thus says the Lord, right? Not JC. A great eagle with great wings, long wings, full of feathers, which had divers colors, came to Lebanon. That's Jerusalem. Lebanon is Jerusalem. Came to Lebanon, took the highest branch of the cedar. That's the king. We just saw that. This is Nebuchadnezzar. He took Jehoiakim. He took Jehoiakim. That's what they're telling you. Verse 3, verse 4. He cropped off the top of his young twigs and carried it into the land of traffic, and he set it in the city of merchants. So that's Shadrach, Meshach, and Daniel. They was young boys. So he took Zechariah, and he took Daniel, that what Nebuchadnezzar just told him. I want your young men. Let them come with me. I'm going to raise them in Babylon. So Nebuchadnezzar came, verse 4, he cropped off the top of his young twigs, carried it into a land of traffic, and he set it in the city of merchants. He took also the seed of the land. We saw that, the good seed. And he planted it in a fruitful field. He placed it by great water, that's in Babylon, and set it as a willow tree. And it grew and became a spreading vine of low stature, whose branches turned toward him. Okay, this Jeconiah, right? And roots thereof were under him, so he became a vine and besought and brought forth branches and shot forth sprigs. So I told you, the Lord of hosts made sure his wives, his concubines, and all of them was with him. So he started having children. Keep David's lineage alive. This had nothing to do with JC. So 8, and it was planted in a good soil by great waters, and that it might bring forth branches, and that it might bear fruit, and that it might be a goodly vine. Say thou, thus says the Lord God, shall it prosper? Shall it not pull up? Shall he not pull up the roots thereof and cut off the fruit thereof, that it wither? And it shall wither in all leaves of her spring, even without great power or many people to pluck it up by the roots thereof. Yea, behold, being planted shall it prosper. Shall it not utterly wither? When the east wind touches it, it shall wither in the furrows where it grew. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, say now to the rebellious house, know ye not what these things mean? Okay, so we're going to find out what they mean. Tell them, behold, the king of Babylon is to come to Jerusalem and have taken the king. See that? He tell you exactly what he talked about. The riddle over with. The parable is over with. He says, and he have taken the king thereof and the princes thereof and led them with him to Babylon. And he have taken the king's seed and made a covenant with him, this Zedekiah, and have taken an oath of him. And he have also taken the mighty of the land, that the kingdom might be base, that it might not lift itself up, but that by keeping up his covenant, it might stand. But he rebelled against him, and in sending his ambassador into Egypt, that they might give him horses and much people, shall he prosper? Shall he escape that doeth such things, or shall he break the covenant and be delivered? As I live, said the Lord God, surely in that place where the king dwelleth, that made him king, Nebuchadnezzar made Zedekiah king, whose oath he despised and whose covenant he brake, even with him in the midst of Babylon, he shall die. We just saw that. He killed Zedekiah and all his sons. Then 17, neither shall the Pharaoh with his mighty army and great company make for him in war by casting up mounts, building forts to cut off many persons, seeing he despised the oath by breaking the covenant, when lo, he had given his hand and have done all these things, he shall not escape. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, as I live, surely mine oath that he hath despised, and my covenant that he hath broken, even it will I recompense upon his own head. So that's the same story right here. This has nothing to do with the New Testament and the Messiah that's in Daniel 9:25.
And the thing about that, Mr. Leonard, is you telling the honest God truth, because he says there's no eye for an eye, there's no tooth for a tooth. You're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. But in the Torah, it tells you it's always contrary to the Most High. You know, the money, gold, silver, all that is mine, and they got dollars. Fiat is theirs.
Exactly.
And I don't want to bring up gold and silver or nothing, but it is what it is. It's his. He brought it up in the Bible. So we're going to watch how they change everything.
Exactly.
They change everything, because what he say, I want to sit on the throne. The Passovers, we were just talking about that. He want to sit on the throne. Who can bring me down? And us as people, we can sit here all day long on this internet and talk about how we love the Most High. We can't bring him down. All praise.
Exactly. Right.
Yes, sir.
What he said is going to stand.
Yes, sir.
Not what JC said, but what the God of Israel said. The God is in the Old Testament. Lord
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Don't hold everything to that running man, because he had skateboards on his feet. I think skates. He was running every chance he got. I can go find it, how many times he ran.
Exactly.
And been found in a bush with a boy with no shorts on.
Right.
Real talk. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And then you want to go a little deeper, then we can talk about what is it? The Kabbalah, where a 14-year-old boy is legally able to have sex with a man. Ain't that crazy?
Right.
These are the scriptures that they condone.
Right. That's the harlot. Like
that's the harlot. Yes.
That's the fake Israel, the one that came in and stole the land of Israel in 143 BC, and they were ran out in 70 AD. And they got the world thinking that was Israelites, but Israel had fled way back in 143 BC when Antiochus came. Israel fled over into Africa to, well, so-called Sahel, they are said today, Negro land. So, yeah.
And the funny thing about that is, Mr. Leonard, I hate to bring this up, but I want us three brothers, AJ and brother Mr. Leonard, to Google how football tackles and football celebrations was back when we was growing up, Mr. Leonard. 80s, 90s, and then 2000s. I seen a video, it was crazy. We was hitting harder, we was doing all these things, and that's what it was. This new generation, soon as they hit you, they get up and start twerking.
Right.
That's the world that we can see, because Sodom and Gomorrah on steroids, and then Nebuchadnezzar time, it was nothing new under the sun, right? So they can see all these things. Same thing with JC. They brought gods to everybody. They brought all you to wickedness. That's why Hitler said, even in my deathbed, I'm going to say that I'm going to start World War III. I'm going to tell everybody who America's holding. God's
Exactly.
jury.
Exactly.
And they know who we are. So now, right now, Mr. Leonard, you know this. It's a fight for us. This is what these wars is about. Who gonna get us?
Exactly. Right.
It ain't about the gold, the oil, none of that. Because where we go, the blessings come. That's why you was telling me about Burkina Faso and all I'm talking about. We've been working 2 years. How we gonna get these people out of here? Now, if they working 2 years ago about this, imagine how China was doing it and Russia was doing it, saying our population is down. We need, see what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
This is unheard of.
Oh yeah.
This has never been heard of. They ain't calling black people out of the woodwork.
Right.
They can say, oh boy, they said Americans. No, 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 no. They calling for us. Because wherever we go is a blessing, and everywhere we leave is destruction. Because we stiff-necked, hard-hearted people. We not the best people. We some, excuse my French, N-words and B-words. I don't want to
Right.
say it on the channel, but you know what I say, Mr. Man. I love my sisters and brothers, but I hate my, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yes, sir. And what you've been reading tonight is all about family. This is a structure because it's the evil-like people. We got Nebuchadnezzar coming in, infiltrating. We got all this going on. And you know what? A weak economy makes a strong man, and a strong economy makes a weak man. And that's what's going on right now.
Exactly.
Now, all of a sudden, look at everybody losing jobs. How many women? How many people's losing jobs right now? I don't even want to go there with that. We already talked about that.
Right.
We watching all the job losses. We watching Nebuchadnezzar right now. We watching
Exactly.
all of them right now. If I'm lying, let me know, Mr. Leonard.
It's all good.
We watching it. The end times, like you said it. We here. It's a slow demolition. All praise the Most High, brother. I don't want to hold up your time. This is slow demolition.
Right. So with that being said, my point was, like I said on the channel, is to expose this fake God that these Edomites and the world have given us. But we in the last days, and it's of the utmost importance that we find our God, return to Him, and submit to Him, not some idol that the Gentile and the Edomites gave us. So, with that being said, I was going to open it up for some Q&A. Any questions or comments before we close out? Anybody got anything they want to shine on light on that might be of some value to somebody?
I just say all praise the Most High, Mr. Leonard Wright. Have no other gods and find out who your creator is, because there's been some fallen angels. Find out who you are. All praise the Most High. Get on our Prophets of Awakening.
Exactly. You got anything, AJ?
Shalom, brother Leonard. I was gonna say when in watching the video you was playing earlier,
Right.
about Nebuchadnezzar, you were saying that this is gonna happen to America, or this is happening to America, right? Because the thing about the video and watching it, and when he was explaining, you know, this took time. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it took
Right.
time for them to build a wall around the city. And
Right.
so then he said it was a military masterpiece, like the strategy that he used.
Right.
You know, I mean, that obviously Nebuchadnezzar got that from the Lord of Hosts. But
Exactly.
right, you know, and then but when you said it was happening to America, I was thinking about how, you know, Russia got Russia has troops and ships or whatever on the West Coast, lined up against America. Then they got problems with Canada, and Canada has allies that's up above. And then I guess anybody can come from the Atlantic side, on the East Coast. And so, yeah, but it seems like that's what they're doing, because one of the main things that he talked about on the video was the famine that he caused by besieging the city.
Right.
They were able to control the food going in and out. And that's what we've been seeing in a lot of the video clips you show us, what BRICS is doing. And what they got going on. So I'm like, that's what they're doing in this demolition, this slow demolition. I'm seeing exactly what he was talking about in the video. So like you said too, the Lord changed not.
Right.
Hey, and it's crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to say, AJ, it's crazy because we're watching 150 something stores closed for Walmart and all these other places. But go ahead, Mr. Leonard.
Right. You can see how we got two baskets, two different types of Israelites, and notice how he got the righteous, the ones that was with him. He got them out. Even though we see it, how tactical Nebuchadnezzar was, he still didn't allow him to do nothing with the righteous feed. He had them out, get out. He had Nebuchadnezzar get them out. Then they went to work on them. So that's what people understanding what's going to happen now. It ain't nothing going to happen to us, the people that's dealing with him. And we see right here, JC ain't the God right here that's dealing with Nebuchadnezzar ain't JC. JC is a fictitious character that these people have concocted.
And it's crazy because when you look at your life, your individual lives, us three brothers right now, when you look at your life, it got better when you started dealing with the Most High. We always JC, we was a Baptist, Christian, whatever, or atheist, whatever. Once you got on that and you finally found it, your life got a little better, player. You started feeling different. You living a little longer. You growing and sexy. Yes, sir.
Right.
Facts.
Exactly. So, anybody else got anything? You got anything else, AJ or Kels?
No, Mr. Leonard, I just want to say shalom to you, brothers. I ain't been on here, and I hope that I didn't bother y'all. But hey, all praise to my brothers.
It's all good.
AJ, Mr. Leonard, I just wanted to get on tonight while I hang out with you, brothers.
Yeah, every Tuesday. Every Tuesday,
I'll be here too. And like I said, nobody is without sin. We all rough around the edges. We all got some shit in our life. So we can't sit here and try to see who's who and what. Hey, long as we on one accord, we good. Despite what you do after that one accord, I ain't got nothing to do with it. But on one accord, I love you like a fat kid love cake. Shalom.
Breaking down these scriptures.
Shalom. All day long. Right. On one accord.
Right. So everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with that being said, I'll say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I'll see everybody on next Tuesday for at 7 o'clock. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.